He had already scoped her uterus. She started the herbs, she started Sunrider, and she passed all of that in 32 days. And he monitored the entire thing. She would have quit had he not been there to monitor because it scared her. And then her uterus was totally white. Now she's dropped from 179 to 129 or 125. Even exercise wouldn't get that off until you cleaned up the inside. And that's what makes this different. If you've putting junk in your sugar causes dilation of the capillaries, salt causes dilation, chemicals, preservatives, glutamate, aspartame, aspartate, and they have another product called hydrolyzed vegetable protein. They take vegetables that are not edible and boil them in sulfuric acid, take them out of that and put it in a caustic substance and make a brown sludge, and they put it in almost all frozen foods and soups. That's in Dr. Blaylock's book. He started not to write the book. He said, I'm going to step on so many toes, but he said, I've got to tell the truth. And you can get the book at Barnes & Noble or most bookstores. They'll have to order it from you. It's something most people don't read at night. It's not a real popular bestseller, but it's great information. He said they used to put glutamate in baby food in the 60s, and 1 jar of glutamate can destroy the frontal lobe. It affects the calcium. Your body has to have glutamate, but too much affects the calcium gate. Nutrition, we found, is extremely important. We tried to eat right. Ruby tried to eat right, but we could not get it because you can't get enough. Broccoli can actually cure cancer, but you can't eat enough in a day to get enough nutrition to do it. And once we started this, then Lois' mental clarity came back. She could remember things, and it took her 12 months to cleanse. In fact, it took her 6 years to cleanse the ears. But after 23 years, you can see why. She still had pain in her ears till about 3 months ago, and she's finally got, in fact, when the ears cleared up, her right foot was swollen. I don't know what that, I don't know if your ears attached down there or not, but now that's subsided. So finally, after 7 years, her body is cleansed. It's amazing you can do that at our age too, isn't it? The younger you are, the faster it works. The only guarantee I'll make tonight is you're going to be younger today, no matter where you're starting, than you will be tomorrow. So it started. My mother at 86 started eating the food. She had shingles all the way around her body, had hiatal hernia. She had diverticulitis. She could not get her left foot warm. She couldn't sleep laying down. She was ready to die. She said, I'm ready. She told my brother last summer, she said, my dad's name was Irvin. She said, I'll bet Irvin thinks I'm not a-coming. She's 93 now, and she just flew to Charleston, South Carolina and back, and she just flew to San Francisco, and she's coming back. Then she's going to fly to Utah. We don't eat these herbs to be alive, but if you're alive, live. And that's what I know a lot of people in nursing homes, they're alive, but they're not living. They died at 68, and they bury them at 85. But it's a shame. But nutrition's important, and exercise. You've got to squeeze the sponge. When you walk, your thighs pump almost as much fluid as your heart. You've got to squeeze the muscle. Do you ever wonder what happened to a cell in your toe when it dies, how it gets out of there? Has anybody laid awake at night thinking about that? It's got to be pumped out all the way up through here, through the lymph nodes, and drop back in the blood up here. I gave this presentation in Houston 5 years ago, and there was a Chinese doctor present, and I've had a lot of humbling experience. I've been checked out so many times, it's unreal. And after the meeting's over, he came right up and immediately said, Sunrider works because, is the declaration, it takes the dead blood and dead tissue from your body. And we had a lady that was in a motorcycle wreck 40 years ago. She had extremely bad candida. It cleansed her candida. It actually pushed it through her skin. Her mental clarity was gone. 2 years later, it cleansed the scars in her leg from a motorcycle accident 40 years ago. That oozed out of that. Then it cleansed the scar she had on the back 4 years later. She'd been eating the herb for 7 years, but it didn't take it all at once. It prioritized. It took Dave's growth wherever he had it. The fatty, where was that, sis? On the leg. He took that off first. It did for another person we had. His wife started eating the foods, and her allergies balanced real quick. Not because this is special, because her body balanced. Her husband said, I don't feel a thing, but a growth he had on his back right here disappeared in 2 weeks. That's just accumulation of junk that the body piles up and accumulates and encapsulates because it doesn't know what to do with it. If you put plastic in the soil, it'll still be there 5,000 years from now. If I put wood in the soil, it will break down because the earth knows what to do with it. So the chemicals and the preservatives and so on and so forth, they stay in the fat, and this will help pull it out. Even drugs. We've had people have a lady in Utah that had a heavy drug habit. She said, if you think these are expensive, you should have been buying the drugs I was on. It totally cleansed that residue out of her body, and now she's a healthy person. So squeeze the sponge. Do something to exercise. I read a book written in 1943, and they said to relax the body, you sit down and you squeeze the feet, and you squeeze the calves, and you squeeze the thighs, and you squeeze the tummy, then you squeeze your back. Can you see what they're doing? They're working that garbage all the way up and drop it back in the blood up here. Then you squeeze your arm. And when I taught my last 4 years over Union, every class I had, we did that. I'd sit on the desk and we'd all squeeze our feet, and they were much better throughout that hour after they moved some of that toxin throughout their body. And that's one way of doing it. But Kali is a cleanser. This is food in, this is food out. This is waste out. If you carry food into your kitchen for 6 months and never take the garbage out, you got a problem. And a lot of people in America, it takes 32 to 72 hours to get meat through your colon. If you'll take a piece of meat and lay it on the back step, and 2 days later go smell of it, that's what happens in your colon. And I'm not trying to destroy meat for you at all. You want health, and there's a way to maintain that. If you're going to eat meat, eat small flavor things with it. If you want to cut back, eat chicken and turkey and fish for a while and eat small amounts. Wean yourself. You don't have to stop it at all if you don't want to, but we chose to do that, and life has been much simpler. We have a lot more energy, and we even play badminton every once in a while with our neighbors. They're so much older than we are, though. We beat them pretty easy. But this is Kali. Put it in 1 bag per gallon. Steep it. Male-type bodies can go 1 bag per quart or 1 bag per half a gallon, and find out what it does to your body. If you're not doing anything, strengthen it. If it starts doing something, weaken it. And you'll start pulling the fluff. The third part of this, the organs have to be healthy to maintain health. Your liver has about 500 different jobs to do. If your kidneys don't function, you have a problem real quick. It filters the fluids in your body and balances electrolytes. If you eat too much potassium, it will take it out and balance it. If you eat too much sodium, it'll take it out and balance it. But if you eat sodium chloride, it can't do that. It'll put it back in, you'll start retaining fluids. The Chinese found that different color foods have a different wavelength, a different electromagnetic field. Energy can only flow down. It can flow from high potential to low potential. So some organs need to be warmer or cooler than the others. They found that green foods feed the liver, and that's referred to as the defense. The Chinese call this the defense system. We call it immune system in America. Red foods feed the pituitary gland, the heart, and the small intestine. The pituitary gland is the flight control center in the brain for all your hormonal system. It controls them, and it's important that it's functioning properly. Yellow foods feed the spleen, the pancreas, and the stomach. White foods feed the large intestine, the lungs, and should be the colon. Well, I have the large intestine, the skin, excuse me. The lungs, the large intestine, and the skin is fed by white foods. Black foods feed the kidney and the bladder. If your organs are healthy, your body is healthy, and it just purrs. This is a toolbox. We have no idea what's going on inside of our body to a certain degree. So you eat herbs that feed all 5 organs. On the back of this bottle, there's 48 vegetables in each capsule. Now that's highly condensed. You go to Luby's and buy 3 vegetables for $3.50 and they're overcooked and you probably don't get much. There's 48 vegetables. It's all food in each capsule. They have the different colors combined to feed all 5 organs. So when you eat these, you're feeding all your functions. Now these 48 vegetables will break down into component parts. You can buy a bottle just for the liver,